The Galactic Confederation vessel, Harmony's Light, emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, its crystalline hull reflecting the distant sun's rays. First observer Zalera Ven stood at the command center, her iridescent scales shifting colors with anticipation. After 10,000 years of peaceful expansion, the Confederation had discovered yet another inhabited world. Initial scans, however, made her auxiliary hearts skip a beat. "Impossible," she whispered, her translucent fingers trembling as they manipulated the holographic display. The planet before them, third from its star, showed signs of regular orbital bombardment, geological instability, and extreme climate variations. Yet it teemed with life. The ship's ethicist, Radon Thex, floated beside her on his gravity pad. First observer, the preliminary cultural analysis is disturbing. His normally melodious voice wavered. This species has survived multiple extinction-level events. Not only survived but thrived. The more they studied, the more extraordinary their findings became. While other civilizations had evolved in carefully balanced ecosystems, these humans had clawed their way up the evolutionary ladder through constant adaptation and survival. Their history was written in bones and blood, yet they had somehow developed art, music, and philosophy amidst their struggle. "They fight wars," Zalera noted, her voice heavy with concern. "Not for resources or survival, but for ideas. For beliefs." The concept was alien to the Confederation, where consensus and harmony had been the driving forces of evolution. Deep scans revealed more shocking details. Humans could survive in environments that would kill most sentient species. They could eat foods that would poison others, endure temperature extremes that would freeze or boil conventional life forms, and heal from injuries that would be fatal to most beings. Their medical records indicate they intentionally expose themselves to controlled doses of toxins to build immunity, reported Dr. Nixis, the chief xenobiologist. They deliberately damage their muscles to make them stronger. They've turned their own biological repair mechanisms into a weapon of advancement. The Confederation's first contact protocols, developed over millennia of peaceful encounters, seemed woefully inadequate for this situation. These humans weren't like the gentle aquatic philosophers of Proxima b or the crystalline mathematicians of Tau Ceti. They were something entirely new. As the observation continued, they witnessed something that changed everything. A massive solar flare, far larger than anything their predictive models had anticipated, erupted from the sun. The Confederation ship's automated systems immediately began emergency maneuvers to escape the radiation wave. But the humans, they stayed. Their primitive orbital stations and planetary defenses activated in a coordinated dance of technology and determination. They didn't just survive the solar storm, they studied it, measured it, used it to test their systems. They're not just survivors, Zalera realized, her scales shifting to the deep blue of profound understanding. They're warriors. Every one of them, from birth, is a gladiator in an arena we never knew existed. The implications were staggering. The Confederation had always believed that advanced civilization required perfect harmony with one's environment. Yet here was a species that had achieved spaceflight not by avoiding conflict, but by embracing it, learning from it, growing stronger through it. The decision to make contact couldn't be delayed any longer. Already, human monitoring stations had detected their presence. The species' reaction to discovering they weren't alone would be unprecedented. Would they respond with the violence that had shaped them, or with the curiosity that had driven them to the stars? Zalera composed her formal report to the Confederation Council with trembling hands. "We have discovered a species forged in fire, tempered by adversity, and strengthened by struggle. They call themselves humans. And they will either be the greatest allies we have ever known, or the most formidable adversaries any civilization has ever faced." As Harmony's Light prepared for first contact, Zalera couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy would never be the same. The age of peaceful expansion was over. The era of humanity had begun. The Confederation's diplomatic vessel, Serenity's Dawn, entered Earth's orbit precisely 1 month after first contact. Ambassador Theron Voss, a veteran of 100 peaceful integrations, found himself unusually tense. In his 3 centuries of service, he had never encountered a species that inspired such conflicting emotions among his peers. The human delegation awaited them at the newly constructed orbital platform Unity Station. Commander Renee Blackwood stood at attention, her military bearing evident despite wearing what humans considered civilian diplomatic attire. Behind her, a carefully selected team represented Earth's various regions and expertise areas. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador Voss," Blackwood said, extending her hand in the human greeting gesture. "We trust your journey through our defense grid was uneventful." The subtle reminder of Earth's military readiness wasn't lost on Theron. Even in peace, humans maintained their warrior stance. "Most efficient," he replied, his translator converting his harmonic speech to English. "Though I admit, your layered defense systems are impressive for a species so new to space travel." What followed was unlike any diplomatic exchange in Confederation history. While other species typically began with cultural exchanges or scientific collaboration, the humans immediately proposed joint military exercises. The very concept shocked many Confederation members, but curiosity prevailed. Admiral Carl Denton, Earth Space Force commander, presented a compelling argument. "The galaxy isn't the peaceful garden your Confederation has cultivated. Beyond your borders lie unknown threats. We've learned through bitter experience that peace must be defended." The first joint exercise revealed truths that shook the Confederation to its core. Human ships, though technologically inferior, demonstrated maneuvers that Confederation tacticians had never conceived. Their crews functioned effectively even when communication systems were disrupted, showing an intuitive understanding of combat that bordered on prescience. During one simulated engagement, Lieutenant James Chen's corvette lost all power. Instead of accepting defeat, his crew manually vented atmosphere to change course and destroyed 3 Confederation vessels before they could react. The observers were horrified, yet fascinated. "You deliberately exposed yourselves to vacuum?" First observer Zalera asked during the debriefing. "The psychological trauma alone." Chen shrugged. "We're trained for worst-case scenarios. Besides, we had emergency suits." This incident highlighted a fundamental difference between humans and Confederation species. Where the Confederation sought to eliminate risk, humans embraced it as a teacher. Their training simulations routinely included situations that other species would consider traumatic or unethical. But it wasn't all about military prowess. Dr. Arya Patel, Earth's leading xenobiologist, worked closely with Confederation scientists to understand their different evolutionary paths. Her insights into how Earth's harsh conditions had shaped human biology led to breakthroughs in understanding other species' development. "Your civilizations evolved in environments that nurtured you," she explained during a symposium. "Earth tried to kill us every step of the way. We learned to turn adversity into advantage." The cultural exchange brought unexpected developments. Despite their fearsome reputation, humans showed remarkable adaptability in diplomatic relations. They demonstrated an unusual ability to understand and empathize with vastly different species, perhaps because their own planet had forced them to adapt to extreme variations. Most surprising was the growing relationship between Commander Blackwood and Theron's assistant, Lyrics Voss. Their professional collaboration gradually evolved into something deeper, challenging both societies' preconceptions. Their discussions often lasted long into the night, bridging the gap between their different worldviews. "Your people see struggle as something to avoid," Blackwood once said during a private moment. "We see it as the forge that shapes us. Every challenge overcome makes us stronger." The Confederation's assessment of humanity underwent a profound shift during these early interactions. What they had first seen as a potentially dangerous species began to look more like a missing piece in the galactic puzzle. Humans' warrior nature was balanced by an equally strong drive to protect and nurture. As the second month of official contact drew to a close, Ambassador Theron filed his report to the Confederation Council. Humanity represents not just a new species, but a new paradigm. Their warrior nature, forged in Earth's unforgiving crucible, is inseparable from their capacity for progress. They do not merely survive, they transform challenges into opportunities for growth. The question is no longer whether to accept them into the galactic community, but how their unique perspectives might strengthen us all. Little did they know how soon these strengths would be tested. On the edges of Confederation space, an ancient threat was stirring, one that would soon make humanity's warrior nature not just acceptable, but essential for survival. The warning came without fanfare. A routine patrol near the Proxima Centauri system went silent. Within hours, 3 more Confederation outposts ceased communication. The peaceful galaxy that had existed for millennia faced its first true test, and the Confederation's response revealed just how much they needed humanity's warrior spirit. High Commander Maxwell Sterling received the distress call while overseeing training exercises in the Kuiper Belt. The Confederation's emergency transmission carried an unfamiliar note of panic. Massive ships of unknown design had emerged from deep space, systematically destroying everything in their path. These vessels, dubbed Harbingers by human observers, used weapons technology that rendered Confederation shields useless. "We've seen this pattern before," Sterling addressed the Emergency Council, his weathered face grave as he studied tactical displays. An advanced civilization, grown comfortable in peace, suddenly faces an adversary that negates their technological advantage. History teaches us that superior technology alone doesn't ensure survival. The Harbinger's assault was precise and methodical. They targeted communication arrays first, then power generation facilities, systematically isolating each system before delivering the final strike. The Confederation's peaceful fleet, designed for exploration and diplomatic missions, proved woefully inadequate against this new threat. Dr. Samira Hassan, Earth's leading quantum physicist, worked tirelessly with Confederation scientists to understand the Harbinger's shield-penetrating technology. "Their weapons operate on principles we've theorized but never implemented," she explained, dark eyes intense with concentration. "They've weaponized quantum entanglement itself." But while the Confederation reeled from this technological superiority, humanity's military leaders saw opportunities where others saw only defeat. Captain Viktor Petrov, commanding the Earth vessel Indomitable, demonstrated this during the Battle of Proxima B. When his ship's advanced weapons were rendered useless, he employed tactics that would have been familiar to ancient submarine commanders, using the system's asteroid field for cover, manipulating solar radiation to mask his approach, and engaging the enemy at point-blank range where their sophisticated targeting systems became a liability. The success of Petrov's unconventional strategy marked a turning point. Humanity's military doctrine, shaped by millennia of conflict, proved surprisingly effective against an enemy that had never encountered such thinking. The Harbinger's technical superiority meant little against opponents who had mastered the art of asymmetrical warfare. Commander Blackwood, now leading the Joint Human Confederation Defense Force, implemented what she called adaptive response protocols. Confederation ships, paired with human tactical officers, began employing strategies that would have been unthinkable months earlier. They used planetary atmospheres to ambush enemy vessels, converted civilian mining equipment into weapons, and deliberately induced solar flares to disrupt enemy formations. The human concept of battlefield innovation fascinated and terrified their allies in equal measure. During the defense of Alpha Centauri, Engineer Third Class David Wong reprogrammed maintenance nanites to target specific frequencies in the Harbinger's hull alloys, effectively turning the enemy's own technology against them. The Confederation had always seen warfare as a last resort, humans saw it as a crucible for innovation. The turning point came at the Battle of Proxima's edge. The Harbingers, confident in their technological superiority, had pushed deep into Confederation space. They encountered what appeared to be a disorganized retreat, only to find themselves drawn into humanity's first implementation of three-dimensional space warfare doctrine on a stellar scale. The battle plan, conceived by Admiral Sterling and refined by Confederation strategic AIs, used gravitational wells as force multipliers and solar radiation as both weapon and shield. Human ships, appearing to flee in chaos, were actually executing a complex ballet of coordinated maneuvers that had been practiced in secret for weeks. In every previous engagement, the Harbingers have demonstrated perfect logical responses to tactical situations, Sterling explained to his Joint Command staff. That's their weakness. They expect their opponents to be equally logical. They've never faced an enemy willing to accept losses to achieve victory. The strategy worked better than anyone had anticipated. The Harbingers, unable to compute rational responses to seemingly irrational human tactics, suffered their first major defeat. The battle demonstrated that humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology or numbers, but their ability to innovate under pressure and their willingness to risk everything for victory. As the dust settled, the Confederation began to understand that humanity's warrior nature wasn't a liability but an essential adaptation. The galaxy was not the peaceful garden they had imagined, and humanity's hardened edge might be all that stood between civilization and chaos. Zalera Venn, watching the after-action reports, summed it up in her communication to the Council: "We thought we were teaching humans about peace. Instead, they are teaching us how to survive. Perhaps this is why their cruel cradle forged them as it did, not for their sake, but for ours." The Proxima crisis was far from over, but it had forever changed the relationship between humanity and the Confederation. The age of purely peaceful expansion was ending, and a new era of prepared vigilance was beginning. The aftermath of the Proxima crisis brought unprecedented changes to both human and Confederation societies. As victory celebrations faded, the real work of integration began. The Galactic Assembly Chamber, previously a forum for peaceful discourse, now hosted intense debates about the future of their combined civilizations. Admiral Sterling and High Counselor Nexar stood before the Assembly, presenting their vision for a new defensive doctrine. Their unlikely partnership symbolized the growing synthesis between human tactical thinking and Confederation technology. "We must maintain peace through strength," Sterling argued, his voice carrying the weight of recent battles. But strength need not mean aggression. The transformation extended far beyond military matters. Trade routes between Earth and Confederation worlds flourished, creating unprecedented cultural exchange. Human adaptability proved valuable in unexpected ways. Their experience with varied environments made them excellent intermediaries between different species, leading to their prominent role in diplomatic services. Dr. Samira Hassan's collaboration with Confederation scientists led to revolutionary breakthroughs. Their combined research into quantum shielding technology produced innovations that would have been impossible for either civilization alone. The human drive to overcome challenges, combined with Confederation's vast knowledge base, accelerated technological progress exponentially. Perhaps the most profound changes occurred on a personal level. The relationship between High Counselor Nexar's son, Terran, and Lieutenant Diana Rodriguez highlighted the growing connections between their peoples. Their courtship became a subject of intense interest throughout both societies, challenging preconceptions about interspecies relationships. Diana's background as a xenoanthropologist helped bridge their cultural differences. "Our societies evolved under completely different pressures," she explained during a widely broadcast interview. "The Confederation sought harmony with their environment, while we had to master ours. Together, we're learning there's wisdom in both approaches." The emergence of hybrid cultural practices reflected this integration. Confederation meditation techniques were adapted for human military training, improving performance under stress. Meanwhile, human competitive sports, modified for different physiologies, became popular throughout Confederation worlds. The concept of friendly competition, previously alien to Confederation species, began to be seen as a valuable tool for growth. Research stations throughout the galaxy became melting pots of innovation. At the Jupiter Research Facility, human scientists worked alongside Confederation experts to develop new technologies. Their different perspectives led to unexpected breakthroughs, particularly in environmental adaptation and energy generation. Commander Blackwood, now serving as Earth's representative on the Combined Defense Council, observed these changes with satisfaction. "We're not just sharing technology and tactics," she noted in her quarterly report. "We're learning from each other's fundamental approaches to existence. Humans are learning to temper our aggressive instincts with Confederation wisdom, while they're learning that some challenges require a more direct approach." The integration wasn't without its challenges. Conservative factions on both sides resisted change. Some human groups feared losing Earth's unique identity, while certain Confederation members worried about the militarization of their society. These concerns led to the establishment of the Cultural Preservation Initiative, ensuring that progress didn't come at the cost of either civilization's core values. The transformation of the Proxima Gateway exemplified this new era. Once a simple trade hub, it became a symbol of cooperation. Its architecture combined human practical design with Confederation aesthetic principles. Research facilities stood alongside military installations, while cultural centers hosted exchanges between species that would have been unimaginable months earlier. Terran and Diana's wedding, held at this very station, marked a milestone in interspecies relations. The ceremony incorporated traditions from both cultures, symbolizing the possibility of harmony between different evolutionary paths. Their union represented more than a personal commitment, it demonstrated that the gap between their species could be bridged through understanding and love. As the first year of true integration drew to a close, Ambassador Theron Voss addressed the Galactic Assembly. "We stand at the threshold of a new era. The Harbinger threat showed us that peace must be actively defended. But it also revealed that our greatest strength lies not in weapons or technology, but in our ability to combine our different perspectives. Humanity's warrior spirit, tempered by Confederation wisdom, has created something entirely new, a civilization ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy presents." The Assembly's approval of the Joint Species Development Accord formalized this new relationship. It established frameworks for everything from military cooperation to cultural exchange, ensuring that the benefits of their partnership would continue to grow. The transformation of humanity's role in galactic society culminated in the establishment of the Combined Defense Force, CDF, headquartered in Earth's orbit. The gleaming station, christened Unity Paramount, represented the perfect synthesis of human ingenuity and Confederation technology. From its command center, Admiral Sterling and High Counselor Nexar oversaw the most sophisticated peacekeeping operation the galaxy had ever known. The lessons learned during the Proxima crisis had fundamentally altered the Confederation's approach to galactic security. Human military doctrine, once viewed with suspicion, became the foundation of a new defensive strategy. But it was their ability to balance strength with restraint that truly defined their new role. First Observer Zalera Venn, now serving as Chief of Diplomatic Operations, orchestrated a series of initiatives that demonstrated this evolution. "Humanity has taught us that true peace isn't the absence of conflict," she explained during the inauguration of the Galactic Peace Academy. "It's the wisdom to know when to stand firm and when to extend a hand in friendship." The Academy itself embodied this philosophy. Located on Mars, it trained personnel from both human and Confederation worlds in everything from conflict resolution to combat tactics. The curriculum, designed by Dr. Hassan and Confederation experts, emphasized understanding different species' perspectives and adapting strategies accordingly. Commander Blackwood's promotion to Supreme Commander of the CDF marked another milestone. Her first action was to implement the Guardian Protocol, a comprehensive defense doctrine that incorporated both human tactical innovation and Confederation ethical principles. "We're not just protecting territories," she declared. "We're preserving ways of life while fostering understanding between species." The effectiveness of this new approach was proven during the Sirius incident. When a previously unknown species appeared at the edge of Confederation space, the response demonstrated how far both societies had evolved. Instead of reacting with fear or aggression, the CDF deployed a carefully balanced team of human and Confederation diplomats, backed by an impressive but clearly defensive fleet presence. Lieutenant Diana Rodriguez Nexar, now heading the Xenocultural Relations Division, led the first contact team. Her unique perspective as someone bridging both cultures proved invaluable. The peaceful integration of the Syrian species into the galactic community became a template for future encounters. Research and development flourished under this new paradigm. The Jupiter Research Facility expanded into the Solar System's premier center for military and civilian technology development. Human determination combined with Confederation knowledge led to breakthroughs in environmental adaptation, faster-than-light travel, and defensive systems. Perhaps most significantly, the fearsome reputation that had initially marked humanity's entrance into galactic society evolved into something more nuanced. Other species came to see humans not as potential threats, but as determined protectors. The warrior spirit that had emerged from Earth's challenging environment became a shield behind which peaceful development could flourish. Admiral Sterling reflected on this transformation during the 10th anniversary of First Contact. "We entered the galactic stage as survivors, warriors shaped by a harsh world," he said. "Now we found our true purpose, not just to fight, but to protect. Not just to survive, but to help others thrive." The creation of the Galactic Council of Harmony and Defense formalized this new reality. Earth held a permanent seat, recognizing humanity's unique contribution to galactic security. The council chambers, built into Unity Paramount Station, symbolized the balance they had achieved, the meditation gardens of Confederation design overlooking the tactical command center's efficiency. Terran and Diana's daughter, Lyra, represented the future they were building. The first naturally born human Confederation hybrid, she combined the best qualities of both species. Her existence proved that the gap between their evolutionary paths could be bridged, offering hope for even greater unity in the future. As the galaxy entered this new era, the Confederation's initial fear of humanity's warrior nature had transformed into profound gratitude. They had discovered that true peace required both wisdom and strength, the wisdom to seek harmony and the strength to defend it. Humanity, tempered by their harsh cradle and enlightened by Confederation philosophy, had found their place among the stars not as conquerors or mere survivors, but as guardians of a peace worth protecting. Ambassador Theron Voss's final report before retirement summed up the transformation. The discovery of Earth and its warrior children was not, as we first feared, a threat to galactic peace. Instead, it was the key to its preservation. In finding humanity, we found the guardians we never knew we needed. Together, we face the future not in fear of what challenges may come, but with the confidence that we have the wisdom to avoid conflict where possible and the strength to prevail when necessary. The story of humanity's integration into galactic society became a testament to the power of combining different perspectives and strengths. From feared warriors to respected guardians, humans had found their true calling among the stars, not just to survive, but to ensure that all species could thrive in a galaxy that was both peaceful and secure. End of story.